The majority of the people that I'm running across, they're not putting enough pride into pride itself. They are willing to let themselves down. They're willing to let their friends down. They're willing to let their spouses down. They're willing to let their parents down. They're willing to let their business partners down. They don't give a fuck. They're willing to let anybody and everybody, including themselves, down as soon as it gets boring, repetitive, hard, any of those things. Oh, that's okay. I'm not gonna do anything. I guess I'll just quit that. You know, that's just not. I'm just not gonna do that. That shit's like work. The biggest thing that people are not putting enough pride into today is pride itself. Putting pride into pride itself is one of the missing elements of most men in this world today. So give me a second to walk around the block to explain what I'm trying to say. Yesterday, I have a decent physique, guys. That's pretty obvious, I think. So I spend a lot of time in the gym. And we travel to different gyms. We go to different gyms. We have a small community in every gym that we go to. So yesterday I was at the gym and I'm talking to somebody that I know very well. And another guy who I've seen before but never spoke to comes up, says what's up to our mutual friend. He apparently knows my homeboy fairly well, at least they're associates. And then he immediately turns to me and puts his hand out and he was like, man, I've never talked to you before. I just wanted to introduce myself. We introduced ourselves and he's like, man, I just have one question if you don't mind, which is common. I have a decent physique, so it's common for people to ask me questions. And I was like, sure, shoot, whatever you want, man. And he was like, I just wanted to ask, man, how do you stay so motivated? And I didn't even think about it. Like legitimately, no thoughts entered my brain. The words just came out. And I was like, I don't. And he was like, what? And I was like, I don't stay motivated at all. And then so he explained a little bit about his situation at that moment. And basically, if I understand correctly, he hurt his arm somehow at work and his bicep is really messed up. So it's preventing him from doing too many workouts, I guess. And I didn't understand if he was waiting for surgery or got surgery, but either which way, he was like, so I see you in the gym all the time. I see you here all the time. He's like, you guys laugh and talk and joke a lot because you guys are all fucking getting your money. He's like, and then I popped into that other gym and he told me the gym and he was like, just one day, he's like, and I saw you there as well. He's like, so I just wanted to know, man, like, you know, how do you stay so motivated? What do you mean you're not motivated? And I was like, bro, I'm not motivated at all. And I said this specifically, I said, motivation plays zero effect into anything that I'm doing. Doesn't matter, anything in my life, motivation does not play an effect at all, plays zero effect. And so I told him, I said, listen, it doesn't matter how I feel about the gym. It doesn't matter how I feel about the day. It doesn't matter how I feel internally or externally about everything that's going on. I'm going to the gym. So I told him there's only two ways I'm not coming to the gym. Number one is I'm too sick. If I'm too sick to go to the gym, and I mean not sick, because I'll be sick and I'll go to the gym. But if I'm too sick to go to the gym, then I'm not gonna go. Also, along with being too sick is too injured. I have been injured well enough to where I'm like, okay, going to the gym today would just really be a bad idea. So if I'm too sick or too injured, I'm not going to the gym. The only other way I'm not gonna go to the gym is if something regarding work requires my complete attention and focus. Then I will skip the gym. But I'm very good at structuring my time and my schedule. So if that is the case, I always miss an arm day. Man, arm day is not important to me. Arms are a byproduct of working out. So I can miss an arm day and I don't feel like I miss shit. I'm not tripping on that. So I said the only way I'm gonna miss the gym is too sick or too injured or something with work requires my complete focus and attention. A deadline is pending, something is going on, something very big and very important that I literally must put that much effort into. So my homeboy interjected at that moment. He was like, man, all you do is work and go to the gym. So everybody's aware of my schedule. Me and my homeboy, we live together, not that same one, another homeboy. You guys, he's on this channel in different places. So we live together. And so my schedule as a general rule is I can end up getting up anywhere between 3:30 and 5:30 every single day. And I will start work almost immediately. I have to make coffee. But other than that, I either come to one of my desks, one of my computers, something, and I start working. Sometimes I'll grab a pen and paper and I'll start writing and I'll sit in my bed when I write. I don't trip on that. And a lot of times, often, I do this probably more often than anything else for a little while every morning, is I just fucking sit there and I think. And I mean, a lot of times I don't even make my coffee first. I just sit there and I think. I have a lot of fucking shit going on. So I have a lot of problems, a lot of obstacles, and I am constantly trying to figure out new ways to bypass, new solutions to the problems that I'm having. That's basically the easiest way to work it out. And then also wrapping my mind around the day. So I was like, None of that requires any motivation. And he was like, yeah, but you're not motivated to do any of that? And I'm like, no. And then he was like, don't you ever feel like doing anything else though? And I'm like, no. So I told him, and this is true, I have a tattoo on the back of my neck. Part of the tattoo is a word, but it's actually an acronym. It's even separated so you know it's an acronym. So it's LIFE, L-I-F-E, life. But for me, it's an acronym, and it stands for living it flawless every single day. Or, I'm sorry, living it flawless every day. I got carried away. Living it flawless every day. That's what it stands for. Now, when I say living it flawless every day, I am not talking about you cannot have any mistakes. I assure you, I have days full of nothing but mistakes regularly. A very good example is working on a new type of content for the channel. So yesterday, I spent a minimum of 5 hours, so 5 to 6 hours yesterday, doing a bunch of different recordings. And normally, like this recording right here, it's a one and done. I hit the record button, I talk until I'm done, and then that's that. Occasionally, I will restart the recording if I happen to trip over my words within the first few seconds or something. Other than that, I'm letting this bitch ride. So yesterday, 5 to 6 hours of recording is highly abnormal for me. But I was troubleshooting a bunch of different problems. And then when I finally got to a system that seemed to be working, I uploaded some of the footage, a bunch of the footage, just to double check some things, and figured out that I couldn't use the footage that I had for a few different reasons. I could, but it wouldn't be a good idea, so I'm not going to. So I spent 5 to 6 hours yesterday working on a project to which I cannot use any of the finished product that I have, none. So we cannot say that yesterday was a mistake-free day. Yesterday was a full of mistakes day. But I still lived it flawless in this term that I'm about to mention. And this is the point of what I was saying earlier. I live every single day. So my work habits, my gym habits, my life habits, I live every single day so that when I lay down at the end of the day, I can be proud of how I lived my day. Can I look back on everything that I did that day, whether it was full of productivity and I accomplished a lot, or not, but I attempted to? Can I look back on my day and be proud of how I spent my day? That's what I'm concerned with. So every day I'm worried about how I spent my day in the terms of, can I be proud of how I spent my day? If I just watched TV, played video games, and all that other stuff that other people do, I would not feel proud about myself when I laid down every day. I would feel so bad about myself as a human being when I laid down at night. That could be probably something that would, if I did that enough times, I'm sure that would send even me into depression. So I understand why people that live that life live a life of depression. So how I got to this thought process, right? Now, as far as I remember, man, I've always been a go-getter. I've always been driven. But I grew up in a tumultuous lifestyle and gang neighborhood, poor, all that stuff. So I want it. I want it. I want it bad. I'm not this person that's just like, I want success. Man, if it's easy. Because that's the people that I'm running into regularly now. That's exactly them. Man, I want success so bad. If it's easy. That's like basically what they say. Because as soon as something gets boring, repetitive, hard, any of those things, they quit. Everybody fucking quits. As a man, I don't have respect for those people. Like, they want to be respected, but why would anybody respect you? What do you have about you that's worthy of respect? Nothing. And this is how I got to this thought process about that. Believe it or not, I was certified to teach the workshop on 7 habits of highly effective people. So in that book, they have this exercise, and they want you, and I encourage you guys to do the same stuff, but they want you to think about, if you're dead, when you're dead, not if, but when you die, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And for a lot of people, this hit really, really, really hard. But for me, it didn't really hit that hard, because in my mind, I'm like, well, at your funeral, everybody speaks on the best of you, right? So I thought a little bit further. Well, let's think one step beyond the funeral itself. Let's think those private conversations that are happening between people after you're gone, but not at your funeral. So they're like, yeah, oh man, I miss Gabriel, man. He was a good dude. He was cool. He was kind. You could go to him with any problem and he would help you. He would always help you talk things out. He would help you see a different perspective on things. That's all cool, right? That's the stuff that they say at your funeral. What I became afraid of when I started thinking about it like this is the but. He was this, he was that, he was this, he did all these great and wonderful things. But, now what is the but that I'm afraid of the most? The but that I'm afraid of the most is he didn't send it. He never tried to do that thing. He wasted all of his skills and his talents. He could have been so much more than he was. That fucking hit me hard. Even right now, I feel that shit. Like I feel like just tingles going down my arms. I'm afraid of that conversation. I'm afraid of the but. I'm afraid of he was all these wonderful, great things, but he could have done so much more. Oh my God, bro, I'm telling you, I can feel it and I don't want it. I don't want that. I do not want that conversation to be said about me. So that hit me hard, right? So then I started thinking about, well, what about when I'm on my deathbed? So if you read a lot of different stories, like I did some research, like what people talk about when they're on their deathbed. People never talk about, it seems to be extraordinarily rare, if ever. People are like, man, I wish I would not have. They don't ever seem to talk about the things that they did do. They always seem to be sad about the things that they didn't do. Their regrets are what they should have done, what they could have done, what they would have done if they had the ability to do it over. Everybody talks about the regrets of the things that they didn't do, not the things that they did do. So I started thinking about that, right? And that can even apply to my own life now. So I did 18 years in prison. I did 5, got out for 4, went back for 13. So I've done 18 years total. Now you would think that as someone who's done so much time in prison, that I would have very serious regrets about going to prison. And you would be wrong. For me, and I know that I'm fortunate, but for me, both times that I went to prison was very good for me. They were very good experiences. I am very lucky and very fortunate that God seen it fit to, instead of just having me, killed in my youth, that I lived a hard enough life that I had to go through hard enough consequences. So for me personally, I'm very fortunate. So I don't actually have regrets about going to prison. That's odd, right? I don't regret about the things about going to prison. The things that I already regret in my life are all the time that I've wasted. That's the biggest regret in my life already. Already, the thing that I regret the most, more than anything else, is the time that I wasted. All those times that I stayed up all night for no reason. I wasn't getting anything accomplished. All that time that I wasted going to parties. That shit was a waste. I wish I wouldn't have done it. I regret already the time that I wasted more than anything else. So when I get to the end of my life, I don't want to be sitting on my deathbed and thinking that I wish I would have lived my life to a more fuller extent. I want to sit on my deathbed and be proud of how I lived my life. Now, the beginning of my life is, that part's over. There's nothing I can do about it. But what can I utilize out of the beginning of my life, as bad as I lived my life during that time? How can I build on top of that to make my life worth having been lived? I want to be on my deathbed and be proud of what I accomplished with my life. I want people that after the funeral is over and they're having those private conversations to not only say, man, he was cool, he was kind, he helped everybody, he did this, he did this. I also want them to be like, and damn, that motherfucker gave it a good shot. Man, that motherfucker shot for the stars. Man, he did this, he did that, he got this accomplished. Everything that he said he wanted, he went and got. Man, get rich or die trying. You know what I mean? That entire mindset, I'm behind it. I'm not really about the money itself. That's not my goal. My goal is impact, but I mean, money is part of how you make an impact, and it is a good scorekeeper on, how well you're doing. That is just the truth. But I want them to say, and, not but, and, man, that motherfucker sent it. He fucking sent it. That's what I want people to say. Not but and. So every single day I live my life with, when I lay down at night, can I be proud with how I spent my life, how I spent my day. That's how I live my life. And so I truly feel and think that the majority of people outside there today, that are watching this and not watching this, just the majority of the people that I'm running across, they're not putting enough pride into pride itself. They are willing to let themselves down. They're willing to let their friends down. They're willing to let their spouses down. They're willing to let their parents down. They're willing to let their business partners down. They don't give a fuck. They're willing to let anybody and everybody, including themselves, down as soon as it gets boring, repetitive, hard, any of those things. Oh, that's okay. I'm not gonna do anything. I guess I'll just quit that. You know, I'm just not gonna do that. That shit's like work. I don't want to be that person. That's the problem that I see is the biggest issue right now that I keep facing. One of the biggest issues that I keep facing. You want to be a fucking man? You want to be a man that other people will respect and admire? Because that's what most men say. I want to be a man that other people respect and admire. No one is going to respect or admire a fucking quitter. Nobody is going to respect or admire a person who didn't fucking send it. You want to be a person that other people admire? You need to become a person that you are proud of being. And I do not want to hear any dumbass shit in my comments about how you don't do shit with your life and you're proud of yourself. Bullshit. No fucking way. How could you possibly be proud of doing nothing? You don't get anything accomplished, you don't do anything with your life, and you're proud of yourself? You damn sure shouldn't be. You don't understand what the concept of pride actually is. And I don't also want to hear anybody in my comment section being like, oh, but Jesus said that pride is bad. Man, we're not talking about that kind of pride. We're not talking about the pride that puts you at the center of the universe and replaces God and everything else. We're talking about the kind of pride that has you living up to the morals and ethics and codes that you guys say that you actually have. The dignity and the integrity that you guys pretend that you actually fucking have, that we all know you don't have. Because you act like you have integrity and dignity, and as soon as somebody says something that offends you, you pull it out so that you can show it. But from your daily actions, that shit's put in your back pocket because you don't live up to none of that shit. Because you don't have no fucking pride. You don't have no pride. So you're willing to let yourself down. You're willing to take those little cheat those little corners and stuff like that because you don't have no fucking pride. If you start living your life in a way that will allow you to be proud of who you are, when you lay down at night, you're gonna live the best life you can possibly fucking live. Everybody, it's different. I'm not trying to say that you have to live your life exactly like I live mine, but you do need to live a life that allows you to be proud of who you are when you lay down every single night. That is a life that's worth living. That is a person that other people respect and admire. That is worth living for. And that is the kind of life that's going to prevent you from being on your deathbed and regretting the things that you didn't do, and from the people who talk about you after you're gone being like he was all of these things, but he wasted his fucking life and his talents. Start putting pride into pride itself, and it'll make you a dramatically different person.